Samantha Bee only became a U.S. citizen a few years ago, but that hasn't stopped her from establishing herself as the longest-serving correspondent on The Daily Show and breaking out to host her own successful program, Full Frontal, on TBS. 60 episodes and 2 seasons in. Bee's examination of the news, and the Trump administration in particular, blends satire and sarcasm with a dose of activism, as she sees it. "I have a certain viewpoint. I express it," she told CBS News chief White House correspondent Major Garrett and political director Steve Chagris on this week's episode of The Takeout. "I couldn't do the show any other way. I wouldn't want to be on television if I couldn't do the show exactly this way. I'd probably go be a farmer. I'd love that too." Listen to this episode on Stitcher. Bee thinks that although President Trump's supporters wanted an untraditional president to disrupt Washington, they very obviously had the wool pulled over their eyes. "I'm fairly sure they're not listening to me, but I just feel like people have been sold a bill of goods. I have compassion when you're tricked." Bee stopped by the Takeout podcast table to talk with Garrett and Chagris about love, life, and politics over coffee and bananas. "I was an actor in Toronto. I was doing comedy all the time. I loved it, and I just got the opportunity to audition for The Daily Show. They came to Toronto. They were looking for a woman," she said, recounting the story of how comedy brought her to the U.S. "That could not be more random or more of a lucky break. It was my absolute lucky break. I was ready for that break. Opportunity met preparedness for sure. Those two worlds collided. My husband was doing comedy in Toronto too, and I said, okay, give me 6 months. Let's see if I get fired. So, don't move down to New York," she told Garrett and Chagris. "So we kept our house, we kept everything. He stayed in Toronto, and I just felt it out." In short, she didn't get fired, and ultimately her husband, Jason Jones, joined her in New York. Bee went on to spend more than a decade working as a correspondent on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, and in 2016 became the first woman to host her own late-night satirical news show. It's called Full Frontal with Samantha Bee. "My life and comedy career would have been fine if I had stayed there. It just happened to take a different path. I got the opportunity to come down south. Canada's full of very funny people." For more from Major and Steve's conversation with Bee, download the Takeout podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, or Spotify. New episodes are available every Friday morning. Also, you can watch The Takeout on CBS and Friday and Saturday nights at 9 p.m. ETPT. For a full archive of The Takeout episodes, visit www.takeoutpodcast.com. Producers Arden Farhi and Katie Ayana Krijenko. Show email takeoutpodcast@xnews.com, Twitter @takeoutpodcast, Instagram @takeoutpodcast, Facebook Facebook.com takeoutpodcast.